Responding to your prospects and leads as quickly as possible is one of the most important levers in increasing your booking rate, conversion rate, and qualification rates. And according to this MIT lead response management study, basically the faster you call your lead, the better chances of you converting them are. So basically what this says is the odds of contacting between 5 and 30 minutes drops by 100 times. And then odds of qualifying a lead in 5 minutes versus 30 minutes drop by 21 times. So imagine if you contact a lead in 5 minutes, how much is your chance of them converting into a qualified lead for you? 100 into 2100 times. That's just amazing. But you need someone to actually call them as soon as a prospect fills them, and it is almost impossible for you as a business owner to do that. So in this video, we are going to build a speed to lead voice agent that books and sets appointment with your leads and prospects within 5 minutes of them reaching out to you. So what it does is once a customer has filled out a form, be it on your website or through an ad, we will get their website, analyze their business, and then call them using Elevenlabs, and then we'll qualify them, understand their business needs, understand their timelines, their budget, and how quickly do they want to solve the solution, what they're doing currently. And once that call is done, we basically analyze the transcript of it and then update the data and send a follow-up email if they are qualified to book an appointment with us. Let's quickly see a demo of how this works out. So basically I'm going to be filling this form. This could have been integrated in your website. I'll just fill this quickly and get back. So I've given it my name, my email ID, my phone number, and a website of Lead Group, which is basically a B2B edtech in India. So let me just show you what that is. Yeah, it's B2B edtech in India. Now what it's doing is fetching the website, it cleaned the website, basically converted into a useful format. And then now we are analyzing the business to understand what they do, where they are, what are the sources they offer, and we are going to quickly get a call once we update this. So as you see, the workflow is executed now and we are getting this call on my phone number. So let me just pick it up.
You have a trial account.
Now I have a trial account on Twilio, so that's why I get this starting message.
This is Savi from AI with VK for your recent AI automation inquiry. Is this a good time to connect for the same?
Yes, it's a good time.
Great. Just to confirm, am I speaking with Vaibhav from VK?
Yes.
Cool. Mind if I ask a couple quick questions so I can
Sure.
pass the right info to the team?
Sure.
What kind of project or problem are you looking to use AI for?
For my lead generation.
Got it. And do you already have something in place for that? Or is this your first time trying to use AI for... Okay, so this would be your first time using AI for lead generation?
Yes.
How soon are you hoping to kick things off?
Within 1 to 2 weeks.
Within 1 to 2 weeks, got it? And what kind of budget range are you working with for this project?
Budget is not a constraint. For the right amount of value, I'm willing to spend.
That makes perfect sense. You're looking for value, not just a low price. And what's the main outcome you're hoping to achieve with this AI lead generation?
Expand into the other geography, do international expansion.
Okay, so you're looking to use AI for lead generation to help with international expansion and ideally starting within 1 to 2 weeks. You're also focused on getting the right value for your investment. Perfect. I'll pass this to the team. They'll review it and follow up soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time today.
So as you see, we just completed the call, and now what has happened is Elevenlabs has sent us the details of this call, and if I go to executions, you see this execution here. Let me just copy this to editor, and you see this, we have got all the transcript of this. So how this call started: hi Vaibhav, this is Savi from AI with VK, and so on. And now what we have done is analyze the call, and if and only if the lead is qualified or we want to do a follow-up. In this case we need a follow-up, and only if they are qualified and we want to continue with them, we send them email saying that hey, below is a calendar link, just click and pick a time that works best for you. And obviously I have put a dummy text here, you can put a calendar link as you wish. If you're new here, my name is Vaibhav. I create content around AI automation, generally using no-code tools. And if you want me to build the system out for yourself, just reach out. My email is in the description. And I also run a school community, basically just a new community around 200 members, where I impart all my knowledge and community members discuss where they are stuck, what kind of help do they need, and how they can proceed. So just to quickly set the context for this video, first we will talk about the tools we are using, then we'll talk about the system structure, Then I'll walk you through the system, and I'll talk about how you can optimize and make it even better. And then we'll talk about the cost structure of this. So let's just start with the tools used. So we are going to use n8n, our open source no code AI automation platform. And if you are not aware, the demand for it has been rising very, very rapidly. And we'll use OpenAI's API that will basically to analyze the call transcripts, analyze the business. We'll use Elevenlabs for basically conducting our voice AI calls. Google Sheets to store our data. You can change it any way which you want, and Gmail to send the follow-up email or alert. Now, the next part is basically understanding what the system structure looks like. So basically, once a lead or prospect signs up, it could be a website contact form, it could be a Google form, it could be anything. Then we analyze the lead, understand what their business is, understand their requirements, and then call the lead using Elevenlabs. We analyze the call and then store the data and book the meeting only if they are qualified. Now let's get back to n8n and let's see what it looks like. So basically we have this customer intake form wherein we ask them their name, basic detail, email, phone number, the website URL, and that's it. That's all the details we need. And then once we do that, we then fetch their website. So basically what I have done is here, let's say if I have to add this here, we just go to HTTP node and we just pull in their website URL here. That's it. That's all we did. And once we execute this step, we'll get all the details from their website. Now I'll just remove this one and I'll execute this fetch website step so we know what is happening. And after that, I've used a code node. So how to do that? Basically go to function, basically run this code node, code in JavaScript. And what we want to do is remove this extra HTML data. We do not want that. What do we want? We want this kind of content: lead groups, innovative integrated services, and so on. We don't want this HTML formatting. So what we need to do is basically clean this data up, and that is what we have done here. So if I run this, what I've done is ask ChatGPT, given it my situation, asked it to write a code here, and then on the data side, I'm just saying via us, our solutions, the lead group, and so on. So you see, this is just English text, and we had around 40,000 characters. Now we only have around 2,000 characters. So that's really, really good. And once we have done that, the next part is analyzing this details. So what we need to do is basically add an AI agent. And what this AI agent will do is take this data and analyze how it works out. So for the user message, I'm going to click on define below, and then I'm going to drag this data section here. And now the system knows what their website content is. I'm going to click on add option, system message, and then I will add a chat model. You can use any which one. Let's say I use OpenAI's chat model, and then in this again system, I want to require specific output format and then connect a structured output parser. So this is state and cities, but we can modify it as we want. And let me just show you how this looks like in production. So basically this is our analyze business node, and this is again the data that we have. And system message is basically very simple: extract the business needs, or extract what this business does, their main service, one interesting detail, and company name. That's it. And format the research exactly as I research. They do their key service, and I'm even justifying or defining the number of words. And then output company name and research. There is a typo here, but that's okay, that doesn't matter. Be concise, ignore HTML markup, just in case there is something that might come up. Once we execute this step, we'll see what this comes up. But chat model, I've used GPT-5 mini using Open Router. If you want to know how to connect Open Router, I've just linked a quick 2-minute video at the top. And then for the structured output parser, I've just given it company name and research. That's it. That's all the details we require from this research. And let's just see once it's done, and I'll get back to you. So yeah, this AI agent is done. And as you see, it says the company name is Lead Group. And then research, I researched this company called Lead Group. They transform Indian schools with integrated systems and technology. Very concise: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just 7 words. And then their key service is integrated school systems, curriculum, and technology. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then interesting detail: trusted by 8,500 schools, millions of students, and 6,000 of teachers. So that's the basic research we have done, and all of that has been done automatically. Now what we are doing is adding this into Google Sheets. So how to add a Google Sheets? Search for Sheets and go here, and then search for append row in sheet. So what this Google Sheet looks like: name, email, phone, URL, the business analysis. I think that is not mapped. We'll just do that. The status, result, and then call summary and so on. So these parts you don't need to worry about. Here we just need to worry about till state column F. Okay. And then we'll come back to n8n. We'll see this Google Sheets node and basically added the append row. We just choose the document and the sheet that we want to use, and then we keep on mapping. So the name, basically where we are getting the name from, we are getting it from the customer form. We just drag and drop this here, right? And basically let me just remove this and show you how this name comes up. Same for email, we'll just drag and drop this here. Same for phone number, and same for website URL. Now business analysis is something we missed out, so let's just get this research, and then we add status call made because we know we are going to call them. For the result, basically, yeah, this is a wrong piece. Not have this here. Let's remove this. Yeah, that's what it was happening. So result is basically after we have made a call, whether they are qualified or follow up or not qualified. So we'll do that at a later step, but this is going to come there. And then a company name, which is lead group that we need. Now let me just run this system, and we will see once this is updated, this will create a new row here. And as you see here, we have till column F and company name H, and we actually should be not having this here, but that's okay. And let's come back to n8n. Now what I'm doing is setting the prompts for Elevenlabs. So what that means is basically I want to have a customized user message or customize first message and a prompt which includes the details of every different lead. So I want it to be customized. Now you can also use dynamic variables in Elevenlabs, but I prefer to do it this way, and you basically override the system with the current prompt. So what I'm doing is basically using a set fields node. So here how to add that, you basically come here and click on edit set fields, and then you keep adding the details that you want. So let's say first message, and then what you can do is define the first message: hey, my name is, and so on and so forth, and then add another, and then you can add a system message, and then you can add things like that. I'll show you what it is doing. So I'll just execute this step, and what do you see here? Hi, customer name. So hi Vaibhav, this is Savi from AI with VK. That's my channel name. For your recent AI automation inquiry, is this a good time to connect for the same? That's it. So we want this customization. Now again, this is not the only way to do it. You can also do outbound details or like a fetch initiation client data in Elevenlabs, but I prefer using it. This is much more cleaner. And for the system message, what I did is wrote a prompt and then gave it different details. So basically, what is the role and what is your goal? So you are Savi, a sharp and conversational rep. Your job is to call the leads who filled out a form about the services, and you need to qualify the leads and capture key details. Then you should confirm name, understand the core problem, then find out the timelines, and so on. I'm not going into the detail. I'm setting the situational environment, and here I'm giving the details. What is the name? What's the company name? What is the business analysis, right? And then what are the conversation flow and rules? How to open that? Discovery questions, how to handle responses, how do you close it, and what are some constraints that you need to look at. So that's how I'm defining this, and all of this will be in my free school community. You can join it, link is in the description. But how did I do that? I basically went to Elevenlabs, and that we'll see in a second. I created a prompt there, and they have a very good prompt refinement technique. I copied that to ChatGPT and asked it to modify for my use case, and that is something we are going to see in the next message. So yeah, once we have defined the prompt, the next step is to use Elevenlabs. So what I will do, I'm using a HTTP request node, and I'll show you how it is configured, and then we will see how the Elevenlabs agent is being configured after this. So let us just quickly see what this HTTP request node is and how I did that. So basically I went to the Elevenlabs website, or basically Elevenlabs API documentation, went to the agents platform, and then went towards the left side, scroll down, and do you see Twilio here? And then we have outbound call with Twilio. Open that up. I got the curl request. I just copied this up, and let's say I come back to n8n. I create another HTTP request node, and then I can just click on import curl, paste this here, and click on import. So what we have done is we have got the basic details. We need to add our API keys. We need to add some fields, which is agent ID, phone number, and so on. but that's how simple it is. Now I have used a slightly different approach because I'm using the system override function. Don't worry, I'll talk about it in a minute. So basically what I've done is, after getting that, I have added the Elevenlabs API key, and I'll just talk about how to configure that. So basically you come here, use predefined credential types, search for Elevenlabs, and then in this create new credential, and just need to paste your API key. So how do we get our API key? You come to the Elevenlabs platform, assuming you have already signed up, and then towards the left side, you cannot see that, but if you move here, you will see developers, and then you come here and you click on create an API key, and once you do that, it will show you the different API keys that you have. Click on create key, name it whatever you want, and then in the restrict key you toggle it off, and then you create the key, you copy the value, and then you come back to n8n, paste it here, and then save it, and that's how you can create your Elevenlabs API key. Now I come to the JSON body. So basically we have agent ID, agent phone number ID, to number, and then conversation initiation client data that we are passing through this HTTP request node. So how to get all of this? You come back to Elevenlabs, click on this agents, and then click on new agent, and then use a blank agent here, and then put in whatever name you want. I can just say demo, and then create this agent. And then once it is done, what we need to do is configure different pieces in this agent. So you start with language and so on, but let me just give you how to configure this data first. So we have this agent ID here. We can just copy this, come back to n8n, and then remove this here and paste it. So let's say remove this and then paste this, but I will not want to change that, so I'll keep it this way. Then we want to add the agent phone number ID. So what we are going to do for that, we'll come here, and on the telephony we will have phone numbers. So for that you need to create an account on Twilio. So after signing up on Twilio, they have a free trial package. They give you $15. It's very easy to use. You can use it for almost a year because they charge around $1 or $1.10 for every month. You come to left side, click on phone numbers, and then you click on manage, and you click on buy a number. So now since it's a trial account, I actually cannot buy another one, but you check any which of number you want and then buy it. Or if you have a preference, you can search for the country, the capabilities, and then see some search criteria with number. You can add some digits, you can match, and so on. You can click on search and then get a number. Now once you have done that, we might come to active numbers, and then we will click on here. So what we are going to do is configure this. So what it basically means is add this URL, which is basically Elevenlabs inbound Twilio connection URL. Now once this is done, we'll come to Elevenlabs, and then on the phone numbers we can click on import number from Twilio, and then we can add the label, we can add the phone number, and then we need to add Twilio account SID. So now I've already added, this is mine. You need to come to Twilio, come to your account dashboard here, come down and copy this account SID, and then your Twilio phone number or token everywhere is here, and then you come back to Elevenlabs, paste it here, and then import it. So what I've got is this number. I called it n8n, and that's how I have configured this number. Now if I have to open this up, I have this phone number ID, so I can just copy this, come back to n8n, and then paste this here instead of this phone number, and that's how I have configured the phone number. For the to number, since I knew it's an Indian number, you can also have a country verifier here or country variable here, but I basically got the number by just dragging in it from here. In this customer form, I have my number here, and I just dragged it here, and that's it. Then this is basically the prompt and first message that we are using. So what is the prompt? The prompt is this json.stringify, just to make sure it does not break in JSON, and this is coming from the set prompt node. So basically this is the system message, and if I remove this here and I add the system message here, that's it. And similarly I have added the first message, and this is how I am configuring the Elevenlabs node. Now if I just click on this play button here, you will quickly see that I am getting a call again on my phone number. As you see, base is the same number. I'm not going to pick it up right now, but that's how we have configured this system. Now let's come to Elevenlabs and see how we have configured the voice AI agent there. Coming back to Elevenlabs, we now come to the agents dashboard, and now we'll use this demo one that we had just created. We can choose the agent language, additional language that you want. First message you can leave as it is that you want, and describe the desired agent. So let's say I write speed to lead agent. Now I can click on this generate with AI and it will create a prompt basis Elevenlabs prompting guidelines on voice AI. Now this is what I did the last time as well, and I got this kind of a prompt, and then once it was done I gave it to ChatGPT and customized it for my particular use case. And this is what the prompt actually looks like. Let me open this one up, and this is what the prompt looks like. You are savvy, you're a friendly and sharp conversational rep, basically the role, goal, what you should do, situation. I've already went through it, so I'm not going to go into detail, but this is how I created the prompt. And then you can write anything here, it doesn't matter because we are going to override this system. So then you scroll down, and then LLM you can use any which one you want. I prefer Gemini 2.5 or GPT, so either one is fine. And then you keep this as it is, you keep this as it is, and then temperature also you keep it deterministic because you have already given it a script and what it should follow, so it should not vary from there. Then limit token usage is there. In the agent knowledge base you can actually add your website, so basically whatever website that you have. So what I've done is added my own website. How to add any document or knowledge base? Click on add document. You can add a URL, files, or create text, and I went to add URL, and then I can just write www.abc.com or whatever there is here, and I will get that here. And then on the tools we need to allow it to end call. So basically what are the functions we are allowing them? We are allowing them to detect language, even skip the turn. So basically if the user is explicitly asking they need a moment so they can speak, and then different rules are there to transfer to agent or number. We do not want that. And then we can add custom tools, but we are not covering that here, and same for add server. And then click on save. Now it will have saved these details. Next we need to come to voice, and workflow we need to skip, and you can use any which one you want. I use Savi because I like that one, and that has a very powerful Indian voice and tone which is going to be relevant for local businesses that I am going to work with. That's why I use this one. Then you can also add multi-voice support. So basically if you want to have different emotional or multi-character agents, you can add that actually. Then basically you don't need to worry about all of these things, and you can actually increase the optimized streaming latency to 4, stabilize it a bit more, and speed you can slightly increase. I have done it to around 1.10, 1.8, 1.9, something around that works very good. And then you can click on save. Come back at the top. You don't need to worry about analysis and tests for now because we are not setting that up. We come to security. Now basically we see enable overrides. So here what we need to configure is first message and system prompt. So that is what we want to do because we are sending the message and prompt from our n8n, and Elevenlabs is just making the call. Next we want to also create a webhook. So we'll come to that in a moment, but this is how you configure it, save it. And webhook is basically to send the call data back to n8n. Coming to advanced, again you can play around with that. This is basically timeout for the number of seconds once the user has spoken. What is eagerness? What is the silence and call timeout? Basically when to end the call duration, and so on. You can actually use this, see how it works, and see few things, and then envisage it basically how you want to customize it. So this is how it looks like, but we do not want to worry about that. We'll come back to security, and then we'll worry about this post call webhook. So we are going to click on select webhook, and these are some ones that I've already created. I'm going to click on create webhook. I'll say demo, and then we need to add a valid callback URL. So for that we'll come back to n8n and start creating this second flow, which is getting the data from Elevenlabs and then analyzing it and sending a follow-up mail. So what we need to do is go to this plus button, add a webhook. So webhook is basically post because that's what Elevenlabs is expecting, and then click this. This is now copied. Come back to Elevenlabs, paste this URL, and then click on create, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Once you click on create, it'll give you a secret. You can just ignore this, you don't need to worry about it. And now you have basically connected your Elevenlabs with your n8n account. Now I'll come back to n8n, and you see here, okay, this is here, and this is the webhook that I had created. And after that we will just analyze this transcript data and how it works. So what I'm going to do is click on save and get the details for this call that we conducted last time. Now basically this is the webhook data, and as you see we have a lot of different details. Like if I keep scrolling down, it will not end. So what we need to do is extract the relevant information from this side. So this basically has some transcript messages, some agent IDs, and different results like what is the time and so on. So you can actually do a lot of analysis from this, but we will stick to the basics and we'll start by actually getting that transcript. So what I've done is given this data to our chat GPT and again asked it to create a code node for me, and this is a simple code node. What it's doing is once I execute this step, you will see it is getting all this data and getting it into a clean transcript. Agent, then user, then agent, then user, and so on. It is getting the full data, and you see thanks for your time today, and that's how we have completed this call. Now once we have this transcript, we need to actually analyze this and understand which status it should belong to. So let me just analyze this here, click on save, and what I've done is basically used a LLM chain or messenger model chain. How you can do that is click on this here, use openai, click here, and then message a model. Where is that? Okay, let me just say generate a model response. Okay, they have slightly changed the name, so generate a model response, and that's how you can get this. Now I'm going to delete that and show you what else I have done. So for the prompt, I've just added a user message, which is basically the transcript. That's it. I've just dragged this here, and then in the prompt, I've selected a role of system and I've given it instructions. You are an AI assistant specializing analyzing sales call transcript for AI with VK, company that builds custom AI automation solution for businesses. And that's it. Okay, the name is not right here. Let's just change it. It doesn't really matter, but we basically define it. What is the output or object that we must get out of this call summary, lead status, qualified, and so on. And once we have that, I'll just quickly run this again because we made a few changes, and I'll get back once it's done. So now that it is done, let's look at the output very quickly. So it gives a lot of detail like what is ID, what is the kind of model, and so on. But the relevant details is this content: the summary, lead status, project details, budget, timeline, and pain points. So that's our main summary that we need. Then we configure this if node. It is very simple. You click on this if node and that's it. And what I've done is basically given it a condition that whether this lead status is basically qualified or follow-up. So we basically want to remove the not qualified leads, and then either of this is true, then we basically update their call data. And let me just run this very quickly. So it is coming into the true branch. As you see, false branch is nothing, and then we update the call data. So again, this is the Google Sheets node. We all know by now how to add that. We have basically used the Google Sheets and said update data, update row, and document you can select whichever one you want. Status, we are using call made. So that's how we are tracking every call, and we know this is only one call that has been made last time, and that's what we are using. Now if you have large volumes, you might have to solve for concurrency, but that's a video in itself, so I'm not touching upon that subject. But this is for small businesses which do not experience high call volumes or prospects like thousands of a day. Now if I have to talk about the different things, so result is this lead status. So basically I'm talking about what do we want to achieve with this. Then call summary, I've just dragged this call summary here. Then project details, again I've dragged this here. Budget, drag this here. Timeline, quickly drag this here, and pain points. Now date call, basically you can just write today's date. So what I've done is used double braces and then use dollar now. This is basically a format or a function in n8n itself, and as you see, this gives this kind of a date format. So what you can do is basically click on dot format. It's very simple. Open these brackets and then put dd, or rather put it in quotes and then put d, and you can try out different things, so different formats. So second d gives you this, third gives you this, fourth gives you this, and so on. So you can try this out and see how it works out for you. And then agent ID, conversation ID, and call duration. So you basically get all of that in this call data. So if you scroll down here quickly, you see this data. So agent ID and conversation ID you get from here. And for call duration, you basically search for duration. And you see here we got this call duration seconds. You can just drag this and get this here. So that's it. And then once we click on this step, you will see that the status is being updated here. And then we need to actually update the status here, get email data, and we are getting the status which is called made. The next piece is getting the data for the emails. So what we have done is get rows in sheet. Again, use the same sheet, and then we are filtering on call made. So basically we will get the statuses which are in the call made status. And then once we get this data, now once we have the email data, so basically what we are getting is every detail of it. And then in the email we are not doing anything, we are just sending it to 2 using that details. So we're just dragging this here. And then in the message we are just saying hi and putting the name. Below our Calendly, just click the link, pick a time, and so on. You can customize the message as you want, and then Calendly link is what you can put it here. So I just quickly ran this, and basically this is the email I get. AI with VK meeting, hi Weber, below is our link. Just click the link and pick a time that works best for you. And that's it for the build system. Now I want to talk about how you can optimize this. So as we saw in Elevenlabs, there are a lot of these play around agents or playing around fields that you can use. You can choose the language, you can add additional languages, you can actually create workflows, but that's a video in another go. That's a different thing. But then you can also add different voices, you can have multi-voice support. Then you can actually tune down the output format. So basically this is in hertz. This is very technical. So you can actually increase the frequency or decrease it basis what you want. And then you can get different quality, telephony, and so on. Next, you can also set up some analysis. So we have not done that, which will basically be defining the evaluation criteria and understanding how the agents are behaving. Then we will have some tests that you can add, which will use the analysis criteria. In security, you can also give it some different agents. You can also add some calendar links as well if you want directly. And then you can play around with eagerness, silence, and call timeout, max conversation duration, and so on. And that's just in Elevenlabs. If I come back here, you can actually, instead of just analyzing their website, you can also use a Perplexity search API to get even more details on the particular customer that we have, and then enrich it even more, and then start with an even more personalized message. And then again in the call analysis, you can do a lot of things. You can actually connect this all in your CRM. You don't need to have Google Sheets. Primarily, you can set it any way which you like. Obviously, in the prompt as well, you can refine it as you want. So let's say this was a conversational tone. You can actually remove some of these pieces if you don't like. Let's say find out their timeline. If you feel that is not relevant for your customers, you can define those things. And then most basic thing is this email piece. So you need to customize it basis your audience, basis your business, and you can actually have another workflow or another settings. Extend this basically so that it can follow up with the customers if they have not booked a lead, and then obviously send automated replies if the customer has booked the meeting. So these are the few optimization opportunities, and obviously if I keep talking about each one, it will take a lot of time. For the false leads as well, you can actually add a Google Sheets node and add that in the system as well. That's about it for the optimization. Now let's get back to cost piece. So let me just see the cost structure. So LLM calls, you're basically using OpenAI and you're doing it 2 calls. So one is to analyze the business and one is to analyze the call. So when you come back, it will charge around 1 cent max, one per attempt, because we are using 5 mini, 4 mini. That is good enough. So it will cost around 2 cents. And then Elevenlabs costs somewhere around 9-10 cents per minute. And assuming you have a 3-minute average conversation, the one I had was around 2 minutes, you will get cost around 30 cents, and the total cost will be around 32 cents. So for 32 cents, you get to qualify the lead, understand it, and call it automatically in a human voice. So that is just absolutely amazing. And this is the kind of system that can increase your top line by 2-3x if you follow it up and create this properly. And if you want me to build the system for you, reach out. My email ID is there in the description and we can chat about your needs. If you want to watch more content like this, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and share it with someone who is struggling with managing their leads and prospects. And if you want this template for yourself, what you got to do is join my school community. Link is in the description. Come to YouTube resources and then let's say pick this video, or let's say pick this video, and basically let me put this video here, and you will see all the resources, my notes, the JSON files, and so on. Just download them. Come to n8n, click on these 3 buttons and click on import from file, and you will have this workflow along with the guide and this YouTube video attached to it directly. And that's it from my side. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day and see you in the next video.